Hi. Okay, so today's chat, let's tie in the soil aspect of this thing that we're venturing into. Uh, okay, so I think the last thing I said is let's define plants as beings that chose to uh, be attached to the ground. And surrender this ability to move about. Yeah. So obviously they have a more direct relationship with the ground and everything that's in it. Uh, Now, before I get into all this, I just want to point out a few things. Now, I'm not going to be approaching the subject of gardening from an academic point of view, as in it's not about knowing the names of the plants or understanding the specific chemical reactions that happen. And there's no real need to do that at this stage. What I'd like to do is sort of mm, expand on how we use language to how do I put this now? Okay, so let's start this way. Now, science in my head, science is actually a subset of English. English is a subset of Latin. Latin and many other languages are subsets of gibberish. And further down, subsets of baby grunts and groaning and moaning. And so, as what I mean to say is that in trying to understand something, if we get too technical, too so-called scientific, you miss the whole point of it. And I think a best example for that would be if somebody asks you to describe what is love. Now, poets tend to do that better than scientists. Of course, there's value in both perspectives, but ultimately, one cannot replace the other, and both are essential to understand the magic of that is love. Uh, yeah. So the same thing applies to gardening and everything else in life. You've got to step outside the uh, the patterns of languaging that you're sort of familiar with, and then have a look, and then from that comes fresh perspectives. So I will be bringing in poetry and philosophy and notions of spirituality and quantum model of the world as it is now, and all kinds of things just to help people understand where I stand, I guess. Understand gardening and understand what is it that exactly you need to do to have your plants looking great. I guess that's the ultimate objective in all this. Yeah, so here we are. We have a plant that's fixed to the ground, and in the ground you have what we call the root structure. Now, most people, again, if you conventional approach to this, if you ask people, okay, so what's the point of this? Why has the plant chosen to get into the ground? What does it achieve from this? And then we'll say, oh well, the soil, the fact that the root is thoroughly embedded into the ground, it keeps the plant upright. That way the leaves can face the sun, and it stands steady while it absorbs the water in the ground, as opposed to an animal that needs to move around and find a lake or find a tap, depending on what, what animal it is. Yeah, so there it is into the ground, and then the next question is, okay, so what's happening in the ground, right? So yes, it absorbs the water, it absorbs air. Roots actually take in air, which we're all misled into thinking it's the leaves that do this. Not really, it's all of it does it. uh, it also takes in water, it takes in so-called nutrients, and again, the nutrient aspect of it is not um, uh, it's not the form in which it takes these nutrients in. The right form is actually cooked up by the microorganisms in the soil. It's not naturally present uh, if there is no life in the soil. And I mean, isn't that a beautiful thing? Life begets life. So the more life there is in the soil, the happier the plant is, the more fruit you get, the happier people are, happier birds are, and that's uh, I think that's the key thing I'd like you guys to think about today. Um, how how life, how we all, um, that the existence of a thriving life, the model is that of partnership and community. It is not about any one quality dominating on another. It isn't. There is a natural harmony that comes into play. It is self regulating, it is self sustaining. You know, all people really need to do is step aside. And obviously, we can't do that anymore because we've gotten messed it up and we're having to sort of clean up that mess now. Uh, yeah, so this is all I have for you today. And I will catch you the next time I attempt this.